The old castle loomed over the Carpathian forest, its jagged towers piercing the moonlit sky. A group of 5 friends, Lena, Daniel, Mark, Sophia, and Jake, had decided to explore the ancient ruin, drawn in by legends of its eerie past. Locals warned them not to go, whispering tales of disappearances and a curse that befell those who disturbed the resting souls within. Despite the warnings, the teens pushed open the rusted iron gate and entered the crumbling courtyard. The air was thick with the scent of decay. Their footsteps echoed as they navigated the dark corridors, flashlights casting eerie shadows along the moss-covered stone walls. Then they found it, the chamber beneath the castle. A hidden staircase led them into a crypt lined with skeletal remains, some bound in rusted shackles. A massive stone slab in the center bore an inscription in Latin. Lena, the linguistics student, translated with a trembling voice, "Disturb the dead, and the living shall bear their suffering. Blood must be repaid in kind." A gust of wind howled through the chamber, snuffing out their lights. A deep guttural whisper filled the space, chilling them to their core. Then came the screams, echoing voices of those long lost to time. The walls seemed to close in, and a force gripped their throats, suffocating them with unseen hands. One by one, visions flooded their minds, centuries of torment, souls crying out for salvation. The castle was no mere ruin. It was a prison for the damned, and now they were bound to it. Desperate to break free, Sophia noticed a pattern in the inscriptions on the walls, each telling the story of villagers who had once sought justice against a cruel nobleman who feasted on their blood. "We need to finish what they couldn't," she shouted. Daniel, an archaeology major, realized the villagers had tried to burn the nobleman's remains but had failed. "The crypt must hold his body. If we destroy it, we might break the curse." They searched frantically until Jake stumbled upon a coffin hidden behind a false wall. Inside lay a mummified corpse, its hollow eye sockets glowing with malevolent light. Without hesitation, Mark grabbed a rusted torch and set the body ablaze. A deafening scream tore through the castle, shaking its very foundation. The spirits wailed as the fire consumed the ancient evil. The unseen force that had gripped them released its hold, and the crypt trembled as if exhaling centuries of sorrow. As dawn broke, the castle stood silent once more. The friends stumbled out, shaken but alive. The curse was lifted, and the air was no longer thick with death. But as they walked away, Lena swore she heard a whisper on the wind. "Thank you, but beware. All curses have a way of returning." And with that, the castle faded into the mist, waiting for the next souls foolish enough to enter its grasp. A week had passed, and the friends had returned to their normal lives, yet something felt off. Lena began waking up with strange bruises on her arms, as if unseen hands had gripped her in the night. Daniel found himself unable to sleep, plagued by nightmares of burning corpses and tormented whispers. Sophia's reflection in the mirror would sometimes move when she stood still. One night, Mark received a frantic call from Jake. "The castle. It's still there. I drove past it yesterday. It was supposed to be gone, but it's still standing." "That's impossible," Mark said, his voice shaking. "It gets worse," Jake whispered. "I saw someone in one of the windows. I think it was you." The line went dead, and Mark stared at his phone in horror. The curse was not broken. It had only begun anew. Over the next few days, the manifestations worsened. Shadows in their homes moved when there was no one there. Whispers called to them from the darkness, growing more insistent each night. Objects shifted places on their own, and a feeling of being watched became unbearable. Lena's bruises deepened, forming the shape of clawed fingers. One morning, she awoke to find her bed surrounded by footprints, yet her door had remained locked. Daniel, trying to fight off his insomnia, set up a camera in his room. The next day, he reviewed the footage, his stomach twisting in fear. The video showed him sleeping, but just past midnight, a dark figure loomed over him, its face obscured. The figure bent down, whispering in his ear. Daniel jolted awake and ran from his house, unable to stay another night. Sophia's mirror experiences became more terrifying. One evening, she tested her suspicion and stood still for several minutes. To her horror, her reflection blinked while she had not. It smiled at her, a sinister expression forming on its lips before vanishing into nothingness. Shattered, she covered every mirror in her apartment. Jake, racked with guilt, returned to the castle, determined to see for himself. The structure stood exactly as it had before, untouched by time. As he stepped inside, the air turned frigid. He felt something watching him. Then he heard it, a low chuckle that echoed through the halls. "You freed me, but you took my place." Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe for part 2.